Good evening. I'd like to call to order this Monday, July 18, 2022, regular meeting of the Canal Winchester Board of Education. Mr. Roberts, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Barnes?
Present.
Mr. Butler?
Here.
Mr. George?
Here.
Mr. Kruger?
Present.
Ms. Nally?
Here.
Okay, would everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there, number 4, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda this evening?
We do not have any additions or deletions.
Okay. And then I'm just going to need approval on the agenda this evening.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Mr. Roberts?
Mr. Kruger?
Yes.
Ms. Nally?
Yes.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. And then we're going to move on to public comments. Is there any public voice this evening? Okay. There's no public voice. We are going to move on to executive reports. So first up this evening is our treasurer's report.
Quickest he's ever gotten.
You ain't ready, are you?
Wow, no, I'm not. So fiscal year end, you're going to see a lot happening from a micro level. When you look at the end result, not a lot of change. If you look at this from a line by line, in the revenues, some pretty big numbers. Up 859, down 550,000, up 775, down $1 million, up $1 million, down 1.2 million. Overall, after you've thrown all that in, revenues are down 121,000. Same with expenditures, not as big of numbers, but up 243, up 143 on benefits, down 897. Now keep in mind, we've talked all year, the 1 million here and the 1 million here and the 897 due to the state foundation changes. Expenses used to have open enrolled, used to have charter school deductions, which was 1.1 million. So really when you back those out, purchase services were probably up about $200,000 when you put the charter school numbers back in to make it year over year look the same and compare to the same numbers. Forecast-wise, cash-wise, we were $11,000 off where we were last year. 4.6 million, 4.6 million. Also, as we've talked, the biggest reason why this was only up 1% and 1.5% was the ESSER funds. We did add new employees that we put into ESSER, and we did shift some general fund employees that had been in the budget here over into ESSER. So next year we will see a more sustained increase because most of the positions that are in ESSER is going to stay in ESSER for the next 2 years, and then we'll come back. So we'll see more of an increase than 1% and 1.5% next year. Supplies, we've talked about this before too. It was up $360,000, but last year was really about a 5-year low for us due to COVID. Usually we're spending right around 1.9 to 2 million. So really the two ones really right on track where we were in prior years, minus COVID.
Is that like fuel and other costs that we weren't paying last year?
Yeah, it's bus fuel and textbook adoptions are the two biggest line items in there. When you compare it to the forecast, we updated it in May, so we should be close. End result, we were off about $16,000 on the cash. Revenues were $48,000 more than projected. Expenditures were $31,000 more than projected. So,
What kind of guess do you have on fuel for next school year with the routes and sports and all that kind of stuff, with it being so far up, the diesel being up? What kind of spike should we look at?
I mean, by the time we get into the school year, I mean, I was reading an article last night that they're expecting gas to get back below $4. Hopefully that's the case here in the next couple weeks. We're always either before the game or after the game. So when the prices went up, it was an advantage to us because we had already locked in prices. It's when it's the other way. So we'll have a little bit of a later impact on prices going down. So it'll be a wash in the end.
Okay.
So it'll be about the same, I would imagine. We have, with the tiered, we have less buses, right? We have less buses out running routes, but still at the end of the day, you gotta run the amount of miles that you need
They're
to
gonna put more
take,
miles
so.
on it.
So we shouldn't be that far off then.
We shouldn't, no.
I forgot that we
Here in
had
a couple years,
pre-bought.
when we switch conferences, we should have less miles with the extracurricular, which is nice.
And Mr. Roberts, in regards to the revenues, in the tangible personal property tax, is it common to see such a huge decrease?
No, this is one we've talked about too. The 550,000 was where the taxpayer typically paid the full bill in February, and they only paid the first half and
Okay,
paid the second
so
half
that came
after.
up.
So we should see a $500,000 increase next year. So that also should wash out.
Does that reflect the increase in most property tax, the value of most properties going up as much as it's gone up over the last year? Or do we know yet?
Yeah, you're going to continue to see property values go up. I think Fairfield County estimated was 33%. Franklin County has a reappraisal coming up, and I'd be shocked if it wasn't 30+% with the reappraisals there. If you look year over year, it'll give you a pretty good indication of actual revenue received and an increase. This has not been normal in this district to be up $859,000 in a single year on property taxes.
I'm sure it's not normal anywhere because it's
No.
up everywhere.
Exactly.
Is that new construction we're finally picking up that valuation, or is this just refinancing? Or?
Combination.
Okay.
We have a lot of new construction,
Okay.
and then it's the value increases
Okay.
that have happened, and we'll see that. And then it's also the combination that we hit the 20 mil floor this year. We were at 22 or 23 mils, and every time value went up, we reduced back on tax millage, and we hit the 20 mil floor with the $80 million increase we had 2 years ago. So the 20 mil floor, you pick up more revenue when the values go up, because you can't reduce below the 20 mils. So, any other questions on the general fund? Health insurance. We had a good closeout to the year. Premiums were up $701,000. Our funding rates reset January 1. We did raise rates. It was like 8%. So that was expected. We did pick up new members. So that's a combination of the premiums going up and bringing new membership in. Claims were up $201,000. Fixed cost total were up $34,000. Overall, we did fund the plan over by $356,000. Last year we lost $109,000, so $465,000 better than year over year from a cash standpoint. Sitting with $2.7 million. That is the biggest cash balance we've had since 2012. So we did end strong. We are funding it. So it's kind of twofold. You're going to look at this and say, well, that's great, but we are funding it at a really high level. Family plan is $2,400 a month as we speak this year, and it will probably go up a little bit come January 1st. So even though we are funding it at the right level, $6.8 million in cost is still pretty high for a plan this size. Now, in the last 5 years, we have probably picked up about 50 members, so that adds to that. I have a sheet that kind of takes all of that in consideration per employee per month and then per life per month, so it kind of gives me what a number would be from a claims perspective. It's not up drastic. I think it's at $1,498 per employee per month. So, and historically we've been right around $1,300. But when you go up $200 and you have almost 400 members, it starts to add up in chunks pretty quick. So we'll still have to manage it. Not really looking to make any changes in the next year. It'll be a big part of negotiations with the unions and where we go from there. But at least we're in solid shape over the next couple of years. Dental's one of those that really doesn't change. $890 difference year over year. We may look to reduce the rates on this. It won't be much, but this is pretty consistent. It's either change the rates or make the benefits better. It's one of the two. So we need to talk to the committee and see what they want to do. Because we've got a balance of 276, and you're going to keep adding to that year over year. So my vote would make the benefits better, make the maxes more, make all the different things within the benefits stronger. I think our orthodontia max is like $750. It's really low.
Cheap.
So you could definitely make an impact to people's benefits by just making some small changes. So, any questions on the financials?
No, sir.
Looks like we're safe, fiscally sound. Thank you, Mr. Roberts. And we're going to move on to our superintendent report. Mr. Sotler?
Well, thank you, Mr. Butler. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to all our viewers tonight. Well, it's hard to believe that, guess what, school starts in 35 days. Summer went by pretty fast, and I know everyone's anxious to get back to school, but we still have a few times, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the last few weeks of school. First day of school is August 22nd, and that is for grades 1 through 6 and 9. 6th grade and 9th grade will have orientation on that day. And then on August 23rd, students of grades 1 through 12 will all attend. So 7, 8, 10, 11, 12 won't go on the 22nd because of the orientation, but they will all report on August 23rd. And then on August 24th is the first day for preschool. August 29th is the first day for our kindergarten kids. So it's coming up quickly on this. So everyone, I hope they enjoy the summer. And then, of course, September 6th is no school for Labor Day. So just a quick update for our parents. Also, I encourage all our parents to visit our webpage and click on the Back to School tab that's at the top right corner of the page. On that page, you can find information to update your students' back to school forms through PowerSchool, and we highly encourage parents to do that prior to school starts. Also, if you need to apply for free and reduced lunch, there's a link on there through PayScale. We're also encouraging our parents to do that prior to school starts. If you don't require for free and reduced lunch, you could actually add funds to your lunch account on the PaySchools app. So, again, we hope all parents will do that prior to school start. That helps out everyone and makes the start of the school year much easier. And then August 15th, they can actually log into PowerSchool and they can get their bus routes. So hopefully that'll all be taken care of. But all that information, again, is on our webpage on the Back to School tab on the top right-hand corner of the page. Of course, other correspondences will be coming out to our parents. So hopefully they'll listen to that, they'll read it, and they'll get all that stuff done prior to school starting. It just makes the start of school so much easier for everyone when that happens. As you all know, this is my last Board of Education meeting tonight as a superintendent of Canal Winchester local schools. Again, I want to personally thank the Board of Education for all their support over the last 10 years through the good times, the bad times, the challenging times. It has been a pleasure to serve this district. It has been a pleasure to work with all of you tonight. Thank you, Mr. Butler, Mr. Kruger, Mrs. Talley, Ms. Barnes, Mr. George. I also want to thank the former board members who I worked with over the years, Mrs. Waits, Mr. Toledo, Mr. Neiswanger, Mr. Yanati, and Mr. Metzler. Thank you again for all your support. Mr. Roberts, Mrs. Hunt, I want to personally thank you for your support and working with you over the last several years. We've had some very good times. We had some great times. And then, of course, like any time, I'll also go through some challenging times. But it's been a outstanding career. It's bittersweet. It's not about the job, it's about the people and the connections you make. And as I get towards the end, you start to feel that, that you're not going to have this going into next year. The communication, the collaboration, that collegiality with the people that you've been with for the last 10 years, 8 to 10 years. So I team from Mrs. Toledo, Mrs. Fink, Mr. Whitlatch, Mr. Hoffman, Dr. Bruning, Dr. Hippler, Mr. Durbin, Mr. Britch, Mrs. Warren, Mrs. Lawlathan, Mr. Riddle, Mr. Paulsgrove, Mr. Lahr, Mr. Harris, Mrs. Cobb, and Mrs. Fries. It has been an honor and a pleasure to serve and work with each and every one of you. I know that I'm leaving the district in great hands, and that we have a lot of great things going on, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the things that will happen over the next couple years. And of course, I just want to thank the amazing teachers and all our staff members. Through all the good times and challenging times, every single one of them stepped up to the plate and always did what was best for the district and for the students. And from a Board of Education and from a superintendent, that's all we could ask for. So we have a truly amazing staff out there, and just want to thank them. And of course, then finally, to all the students, the families, and the community members, my affection for Canal Winchester Schools will never diminish. Thank you for your partnership and support over the last 10 years. And again, I look forward to seeing the district's future success, and we'll be rooting for great things for the Canal Winchester local schools and their community. And I wish everyone here the best of luck, and I'll still be around. Might come to a football game or two, but I just want to wish everyone luck, the best of luck to everyone. And as always, need to relax and enjoy your summer break, and make it a great day or not, the choice is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Soller. And I did want to just acknowledge it. After 10 years, I wanted to make sure I said thank you. I know you came in 13 you got here, and then there was some challenges when you got here, but we've seen the district grow and improve, had additions to the building, and I know in the 7 years I've been here, it's been great working with you. So I just wanted to take the time to acknowledge you and just say thank you for your service to the district, and I know you're still going to be living in the district, so you're not going too far away, but I just wanted to make sure we said thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely,
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Soller.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Soller. And then we're going to move on this evening, unless anybody else has anything to say, we're going to move on to district reports. And is there any questions about the district reports this evening? I'm sorry. Hold on. Before I move on, I think I got something. I think I might have missed something here. So hold that thought for 1 second. Yeah. You want to start, or you want me to go ahead?
Go.
Well, are we ready now? We ready to go?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. All right. So I think I just want to make sure we're on the same page. You were ready to go today? All right. Well, Mr. Soller, I do believe the Board of Education did get something for you. Am I on this? We're on the same page?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I was like, I didn't want to say it, and we were supposed to give it to them next week. So they did it for you today, but I wasn't sure. So if I say it now. All right, we got something for you, Mr. Soller. So
I'm a little worried now.
No. It's been 10 years, so the Board of Education wanted to make sure we did something nice to acknowledge, obviously, that we appreciate you and your service here to the district. And I thought we were going to do it at the end of the month, but it looks like we're ready to go today. So with that being said,
We
which
don't have
direction?
another meeting.
I was a little.
There we go.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Let me put this over here.
Nice.
That is awesome.
So obviously, like I said, I'll try to emphasize the 10 years because we know the 10 years is a long time. And I always joke, like most superintendents, 5 years is sort of the shelf life. So 10 years really says that Mr. Soller's been here for a long time. And obviously, he made a big impact on the district. So we want to do something nice for you to acknowledge you. We didn't want you to just walk out the door and not feel like, obviously, we appreciated what you've done here. So
That is.
obviously, this is for you, Mr. Soller.
Thank you. That is awesome.
So actually, I think we're going to get a picture and everything for social media. So Mr. Soller, hold on.
Yep. Don't drop glasses.
I don't want to drop this and break it. I love that.
sure Pat wants to know.
Hey.
Let me get all the way back.
Wait, all right, you got, there you go. 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. This is awesome. I truly appreciate it. This is great. This is one of these things you'll hang up forever. And yes, thank you. And that's a baseball jersey.
Now, does that 10 mean anything?
10 years.
10 years. Okay, I
And
didn't
it's a
get that.
baseball
See-
jersey, 'cause I'm a baseball player. I really do.
I was just making sure it wasn't something else.
Thank you so much, guys. This is awesome. I can't wait to hang it up. That is great. I love it. I wonder if I can fit in that jersey.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Sotler.
Thank you.
We got a 2X, so it should fit just fine.
Thank you, Mr. George. I appreciate that.
Big friend. So now, I believe we're ready to move on to district reports. So in district reports, are there any questions about the district reports this evening? All right, if there's no questions on the district report, we're going to move on to the consent agenda, and I am going to need a
Hold on
motion.
1 second. I just want to kind of piggyback off his message about the free and reduced lunch
Okay,
and
go
front
ahead.
food service.
Go ahead.
To the parents, it's very important that we fill that out. We haven't done it in 2 years due to the federal free lunch program. The free and reduced lunch numbers don't just drive whether your student gets free or reduced lunch. It also drives our Title I funding and other funding. So having those applications completed and having the more accurate numbers gets more federal dollars for the school district to have those on file for the district. So I just wanted to make sure we point that out and stress the importance of making sure we fill those out. It's going to be tough after a 2-year break. But I think we're going to send out a postcard to remind parents, so just want to make sure we get that completed this year.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roberts.
Nick, is there a drop dead date by when those have to be in, as opposed, as to how the federal funding comes in?
No, I think it's as you go. I mean, I think there's
Okay.
an initial hard deadline. I don't know what that deadline is. That we can find out. But I think it's just as you go throughout the year.
Okay.
I think parents can pretty well do it any time throughout the year.
Yeah,
Just have to verify their income and just fill out the application, really.
okay. But from a school district perspective on getting the federal funds that you talked about, there's not a cut date for the year.
No.
Okay.
And that's why it's online too, so it's very easy. Go in that back to school tab, go down to the middle of the page and just click on the link, and sign up from there.
Probably just need to, I know you said we were sending out a postcard, we probably just need to touch base a couple more times, because I think I've only seen one message on it come out via email.
Yeah, we have a few more communication pieces. Megan Anthony's putting that together for us to send that out, postcards and.
And it was strategically done
Yeah.
because you couldn't get on to fill it out. So we were concerned that if we pushed it and people couldn't get on to fill it out, they would get annoyed because we sent it out, and then the
Yep.
next time we would send it out, they wouldn't go, so.
That makes sense.
Okay. All right, wonderful.
One question about that too. Have we fixed the glitch that when you say you want insurance for your Chromebook, that there's some way you actually do get charged for it, as opposed to just a box that you check saying you want it, but then you don't know that you have to go do something else to actually get it?
Yeah, you have to actually add that into your cart. If you don't add it into your cart, you might say you want it, but if you don't add that fee into your cart, you never pay it.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We can check with JP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention, yeah.
All right. And moving on to the consent agenda. So I do need a motion on the consent agenda this evening.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, and Mrs. Hunt?
Okay, we'll start first with the minutes from the from June's meeting and then also July's special meeting. Number 2, we do have several resignations. I would like to highlight one resignation for the purpose of retirement for Katie Haar, high school math teacher, effective September 1st, and we just want to thank her for many years of service to the district. She will actually be retiring September 1st, so she'll be with us for August. We do have several teacher recommendations. I do just want to make a quick recognition of, I believe, is it Trent? Hi, Trent. So Trent is here with us. Trent will be our 7th grade English language arts teacher. So welcome.
Happy to be here.
We also have extended days for Alexis Bowman, who is our school counselor at Winchester Trail. We inadvertently left those off when we approved her. Moving on to number 3, classified personnel. We do have a resignation for Andre Bradley as a high school parapro. And then we also have a classified recommendation for a substitute, Ronald Root. And some supplemental personnel. We have some, let's see, assistant high school soccer, football coaches, and some volunteer coaches. Number 5, we're asking you to approve the handbooks. The handbooks for students are listed here, all buildings, including the athletic handbook and then the preschool handbook. And number 6, we are asking to approve a contract with Fairfield County ESC for a psychologist services. Typically, we will go through the Franklin County ESC. However, they were unable to find us what we needed in services. So we got lucky through Fairfield and they were able to find us the additional days that we would need.
Question.
Yes.
Have we filled Andre Bradley's position, or are we filling that, or?
We are filling it. We interviewed today.
Okay. He's very well liked by a lot of the kids.
He is very well liked.
He will be missed.
And number 7, private tuition. Let's see here, we're just asking you to approve a private tuition contract for a student attending Boundless.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Hunt. Does anyone have any other questions about the consent agenda this evening? If not, Mr. Roberts?
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
Mr. Krueger?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. And then we're going to move on to action items. So the first action item is going to be payment in lieu of transportation. And I'm going to need a motion on action item number 1.
So move.
And I'll second that one.
And this is a typical beginning of the school year payment in lieu of transportation students that are going to school outside our district but actually live here. And so these students qualify for the payment in lieu of transportation.
Perfect. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions about action item number 1?
I just wanted to know, have we made a decision as a district yet on to what kids will be going to our district that are outside of the school district yet? When is that decision?
For open enrollment, yeah, those will be coming out within the week.
Within a week?
Mhm. That
Is
is
there a
correct.
reason why we wait so late?
Just looking at numbers. We look at enrollment numbers because it's all based off enrollment numbers. Right now, it's, besides high school, 11th to 12th grade, it's pretty much, we're full in all areas.
So are we below our numbers overall or at our numbers for the district with all of the kids who've left the district? Have we filled those opportunities, or are we still looking for, are we not going to try to fill any of those?
Well, that's hard to determine because we don't have the actual withdrawal numbers yet either. So we don't know how many kids are leaving the district at this time.
Okay.
So we try to make the best guess we possibly can, but going off of numbers from last school year.
Okay.
So, yeah, open enrollment the last couple of years has been mostly at the high school level, 11th and 12th grade, because our younger levels have been very full,
And
besides our staff kids.
is there a cutoff number for our open enrollment?
100.
Okay, so there is.
And we're about 65, 70 between students that are already here and our staff members, about 75, I think. So,
We typically won't know our withdrawal numbers until Columbus starts. We always find that we will sit on a lot of kids not knowing if they're here or not because we don't get the actual forms from Columbus City until they start school. So, and they're usually the last to start. They usually start after Labor Day.
Okay. Are there any other additional questions about action item number 1? Okay, if not, Mr. Roberts?
Mr. Krueger?
Yes.
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. And then we're going to move on to action item number 2, which is going to be employment, and it's going to be transition days for Mr. Brian Moore. So I'm going to need a motion on action item number 2.
So move.
Second.
So this was missed at the July 6th meeting. Normally, when we hire the principal, we also give them a transition day. So this is his 10 days of transition from where he is now to Canal Winchester Middle School.
Perfect.
So
Perfect. All right. Does anyone have any other additional questions about action item number 2?
How is that rate determined? I'm just wondering.
by salary,
Okay,
yeah, the daily rate.
okay.
Perfect. Any other questions for Mr. Sotler? Not? Mr. Roberts?
Mr. Krueger,
Yes.
Mr. George,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Feller? Yes. Ms. Talley?
Yes.
And then the motion passes 5-0. And then executive session. So we are going to be, I'm going to need a motion to enter into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
So moved.
Okay, and I will, there we go. So I got a motion and a second. And we are going to enter into executive session at 7:31 p.m. Okay. All right. Mr. Roberts, well, sorry, whenever you're ready.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Mr. Feller?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
Mr. Krueger?
Yes.
And motion passes 5-0.